What's going on, guys? Back with another video. You guys have been loving these Las Vegas videos, so I wanted to make one today on my top 5 tips for moving to Las Vegas. Alright, so like I said, this is going to be my top 5 tips for moving here to either Las Vegas, to Henderson, North Las Vegas, Boulder City, anything in this Las Vegas Valley area. Now, first off, if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you like these type of videos, and make sure you click the thumbs up button below if you enjoy this content. So, all right, so I'm gonna just hop right into this really quick. Tip number 1 would be to avoid the touristy stuff. So if you are just moving here, it's gonna be a culture shock if you're not used to it. Maybe you've never even visited here before. You may have to just get that out of your system, but don't get so sucked into the 24-hour nightlife, the 24-hour alcohols, the marijuana dispensaries. Don't get caught in the nightlife, the strip clubs, because if you get sucked in the casinos, if you get sucked into that, you are going to be out of here within a few months, because that's what happens to a lot of people. They come here, they think that they can just party and live it up, and then they go bankrupt or they're whatever, they get evicted within a couple months. So avoid the touristy stuff, because it can easily suck you in, especially if you live close to that area. That's why a lot of people are choosing to live in Henderson, because you are still close if you want to go to the strip, you want to go to these events, these nightlifes, events going on, but you still live away. Like me right now, it's such a calm, homey area, and there's not all that craziness going on. So there is still casinos over here. There's gonna be casinos when you go inside and get gas, which is weird. There's casinos inside of the supermarkets. You can buy alcohol 24 hours a day. There's marijuana dispensaries. So just be aware of these things and be responsible, because like I said, if you're not responsible, you'll be out of here quick. Tip number 2 is going to be live close to where you work. Now, if you work from home, this is obviously, you can live wherever you want. But say you live in North Las Vegas, but you work on the strip. You're gonna have a very long commute every day. First off, there's a lot of construction going on the freeways, expanding, and all that, stuff that comes with traffic with that. Also, it's a lot of mileage. So although, yes, you can live very cheap in certain areas, if you have to drive, 60 to 100 miles possibly round trip, it's not really worth it, because you're going to spend so much time in traffic and you're going to be wasting a lot of gas, which is ultimately going to be costing you more money. So my suggestion would be to try to live as close to where you work as possible. Now, obviously, this is like kind of a given. It's kind of an obvious thing. You should do this anywhere you live, but especially here. So if you live in where I live in Henderson and you work on the strip, that's not too bad. That's maybe like a 14-mile trip. Round trip, that's not bad. But like if you live over here and then you work in the northwest part of the valley, you're going to be pushing 60 miles round trip, and then traffic and all that stuff. So just try to scout out your area that you're going to be living in first. Now, obviously, if you have to change jobs, obviously that's somewhat out of your control, and you'll be where you are. But just try to live as close as where you work, because of, again, all the mileage on the car and the gas and the time. Tip number 3 would be to have money in your savings, and there's a couple reasons for this. Obviously, you want to have something to fall back on. If you lose your job, you don't want to be shit out of luck the next month. You want to be able to at least support yourself for, at least like a couple months, or have credit available so that you can, use that for rent, whatever you want to have as your safety net. But the thing about Las Vegas, and a lot of people don't really think about this, is yes, there's a lot of people moving here right now. Yes, the home prices are high. Yes, the rents are going up. But here's the thing. This entire economy is run off of entertainment. So if this market was to crash, and it's predicted to crash here at any moment, you have to realize that people are not going to be traveling here with disposable income to go to the casinos, to go to these pool parties, to do all this stuff. So that's going to hurt the economy, and that will put a lot of people out of work. And that's also going to raise the availability of housing, apartments, which is going to drive the prices down again. So you want to have somewhat of something to fall back on, because especially if you work in the entertainment industry, with all the automation that's coming up, servers are being replaced at restaurants with machines, and people are inputting their orders. A lot of the cocktail waitresses at a lot of these casinos are being replaced where people just order right on the machine. So it's something to think about. Obviously, this is, again, a given. Any city you go, you want to have some savings to fall back on. But especially here, because of the way the economy works, and with it being mid-2019 almost, this crash is going to happen. Whether it's going to be this year or next year, it's going to happen within the next 12 months, I believe. So that's something that you should definitely be prepared for. Tip number 4 would be to have a job lined up. And this is, again, kind of an obvious. I wouldn't really expect you to move somewhere without knowing what your situation is. Now, you can drive for Uber, you can drive for Lyft if you don't really have your situation 100% figured out. But know to get approved for an apartment, you are going to have to provide income. And if you don't have income and you're not currently driving for those companies, you're not going to really have statements to prove that. So try to have a job lined up. Don't move here with no money and no job, because it's going to take you time to find a job. You're not going to be able to just walk into somewhere and get a job. It'll probably take you 4 to 8 weeks, sometimes sooner, sometimes more, depending on the job, depending on your skills. But have some sort of an idea of what you want to be doing so that you can start getting your housing, you can start getting everything rolling along. Now, yes, you can drive for Uber, you can drive for Lyft. Be aware, here in Nevada, you are going to have to get a business license, and you're going to have to get a license with the Clark County for business as well. And those do cost money. I believe it's $200 for the business license, and I believe the Clark County is $25. So be aware, you will have to get those if you plan on doing Uber and Lyft. You will have to register your car here. You will have to get your insurance here. So there is a process where you can't just jump in and do that. It's going to take some time to transition. But my suggestion would be to have some sort of a job, whether you do an online thing, whether you have your own business, I don't know what it is, but have a plan before you get here. Because again, like I said in my last point, if the economy crashes and you just moved here and now there's no jobs, you're going to be in a really big pickle. So that'd be tip number 4. And tip number 5 would be just be fully aware of the weather before you move here. I encourage everybody to visit and at least experience the heat before you move here, because if you're not a fan of heat, you are not going to like it here. I don't care how much the other months are beautiful, in my opinion. If you don't like heat, you are going to absolutely hate living here. So if you're curious about how the weather works and all that, and just the different seasons and kind of what to expect, I have a video that you guys can watch linked up right here. I did about the weather here in Las Vegas, kind of goes over the different seasons and all of that good stuff. So that would be really my top 5 things. I think personally those are probably the most important things. If you guys have any other questions related to moving here, anything you guys want me to make a video on, let me know down in the comments. And again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.